Joseph El-Sayegh. I'm the Chief Underwriting Officer at SCOR Canada Reinsurance. I oversee the treaty department in the Canadian operations for SCOR. And basically, we are a team of four underwriters in our office, and then basically we oversee the Canadian operations. Well, we've been involved for a long time, like since I researched that actually before coming to this conference. And we've been involved since 1982 with the NIAC through a variety of participations, and we've been supporting the NIAC since then at the pool. Well, it's a major change, the C22. It's the biggest change at the C22 is the increase of limit, of course, like from 75 million to 1 billion. They were, explaining the stage increase of that. And also the regulation is basically bringing up the standards in the Canadian law up more or less to closer to international standards. And this basically will put the Canadian Nuclear Liability Act up to par basically to the other standards in the world. Us as underwriters and as insurance and reinsurance companies, we look at the risk and the price of the risk, and we have to price the risk in a way that provides profitability at the end for a simple reason, because when you want to provide the long-standing support, you need to make sure that you are providing also profitability with the risk that you are providing, with the capacity you're providing, so you can provide that longevity of the presence. Otherwise, when you have a big catastrophe loss, then you want to make sure that this company is there and is around to pay for these losses. And these losses there are not going to be paid back by overnight, over 1 year. As we saw in the law and the regulation, you have 10-year period that you need to cover, and you need to assume that the companies have enough capital and money to provide that. So the key element for us is the pricing of that exposure. And it's not an easy task to be done. So you have actuaries involved in that, and you have underwriters involved in that to come up with that value. And this is basically the biggest interesting point with the change in law and regulation, how to evaluate the limit. And this is not, there is a science behind it, but there is also art in the work, and to provide a right balance between the exposure and the risk itself. First of all, like with us internally, the NIAC is basically, it's a pool of member companies in Canada, insurance companies in Canada. And it's well managed by management that they've been long-standing people in the Canadian market. They have a long history. They have a very good and close knowledge of the operators, of the market, and of the law and regulation. And they have a lot of involvement in, in advising during the regulation process. So from that aspect, that's why SCOR is supporting the NIAC, because we believe in the good management of NIAC. And then we believe in the good management of the client relationship also from the NIAC point of view. When it comes to the operators, the Canadian, we are fortunate that we operate in a well-established, mature market in Canada, and the operators, they are very well operators. We saw two of them today in the presentation, and they are basically, they know what they are doing. They have a very good risk, and they have like a good control measures, which makes basically the risk in the Canadian market basically attractive risk to insure and to operate, to underwrite. And that's what provides the good relationship between the NIAC and the operators and us and pool members. The increase in the capacity and the limit, it's more than 10 times the actual limits eventually. That's what's going to happen. Now, like we need to find the right price for that. And that's what the business opportunity brings in. It brings in the premium growth, and then that's going to allow a profitability at the end of the day. And I believe that's the biggest business opportunity, and give basically access to a new opportunities in the market for everyone, for the NIAC pool, for the insurer that they are supporting the pool, reinsurers like us supporting the pool, and also for the operators themselves to have a coverage that even though they are paying premium for it, but then they're going to have like basically a large amount of coverage allowing for that. So I believe that's what's going to allow for the business opportunity. And then once you have insurance coverage, then it will allow them to have some kind of a sleep easy cover, if you want to look at it, from that or state of mind that will allow them maybe then to invest in other things, in research and development or growth from their end, because they know that they have the insurance backstop that allow them to do that investment elsewhere.